What is up, guys? The Casey's here, and today we are going to be remaking our social media app. We made it in iOS 10, but now we're going to be making it in iOS 11 and adding a few more features. I haven't done this before, but I want to give a huge shout out to Alvarez for the super nice comment right here. And please, guys, leave comments below, and if they're nice, I might just put yours up here like that. And let's get right into this video. Let's just head to File, New Project. There we go. This is going to be a single view application. Click Next. We're gonna name this Social 2 because it's our second one. And for organization identifier, com.yourname is the normal thing that you should do. And then language, of course, is gonna be Swift. Create a get respiratory and then create. Once we're in the application, we need to go to Firebase. We're going to be using Firebase for our authentication and our database. So if you guys don't have a Google account, go ahead and create a Google account and then head to firebase.com. Once you are in your Firebase console, here's the link right here, console.firebase.google.com. If you guys don't have projects yet, just click this little add project. But if you do have a project like I do, we're just gonna go here and then to overview and click add new app. This is gonna be an iOS app, so similar to if you click add project, you're gonna have to do the same stuff. I'm just doing it within a project I've already created. The bundle identifier, we're gonna go to Xcode, copy our bundle identifier right here, and then we're gonna paste that here. We don't have to do any of the other stuff. We can nickname this whatever you want. If you want, it's up to you. Now, for this part right here, make sure you don't have a Google service.info.plist in your downloads file. It just makes this process a little bit more simple. And once you're ready, just click download right here. It's going to download the file. You can click and drag this on over to your project and copy items if needed, add to targets, and create groups, finish. So we got that in there. There may be an error. If you guys are in Xcode 9 beta, there is an error. The way to fix that would be to right click on the folder and click add files to the project, and then go to the location and then download. Click add. Okay, so yeah, we're having that problem. So it just worked. Like so. Okay, so we're good there. Now let's click continue at firebase.com. Now, if you guys don't have Cocoapods, you don't know what Cocoapods is, I would suggest going to this website right here. It's, I believe, just Cocoapods. Go to cocoapods.org, and cocoapods.org will show you how to install it. Sudo gem install Cocoapods, and it shows you how to get started. Little tips, stuff like that. But basically, what you have to do is go to the terminal, which is right here, or usually it's in your other file, in here somewhere. Mine's right there. But once you're in the terminal, you have to CD to your desktop. Then you're gonna CD to your projects folder. So mine's social 2. So we're on our desktop right now, and right here is our projects folder. So when we click CD into that, CD SOC, there we go. Now the terminal is inside of this folder. So if we say pod init, excuse me. If we say pod init, it's gonna run some code. And then it's going to put a file inside of our folder. It's called the pod file. And we want to copy this Firebase core right here. And we want to head to that file, and underneath hashtag pods for social 2, we want to paste that. We also want database, and we want what else? Off. Okay. save that, make sure it's saved. Now you can exit out of that and head back to your terminal and say pod install. It's going to run some stuff. It's going to install some Cocoapods. Exit out of your project, your Xcode project, and head back to your folder, and you will notice a few new things. Now you got a pods folder, a podfile.lock, and a social.exe workspace file. It's like the white one. Click on the white one. You have to use the white one from now on, otherwise there's some linking errors, stuff like that. You want to use the white one from now on, okay? And we're going to open up our social folder. There we go. There's all of our stuff. And in today's video, we're going to be working on authentication because that's the very first part of a social media app, right? The authentication, of course. So we're going to head back over here, click continue. Import Firebase is, well, we have to go to the app delegate class. I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting ahead because I've done this so many times. And then it wants us to paste this code right here. So let's head to our app.delegate.swift. And if you installed Cocoapods properly, you should have no problems here. Sometimes there's a couple of bugs. You may have to update your pods, stuff like that. But let's say import Firebase. And in this series, I want to be going more in depth on stuff. So for instance, when we're importing Firebase right here, basically we're telling the code that we're going to be accessing Firebase, the pod Firebase's code. So within Firebase, there's functions, different things that get called, but unless you import it, Xcode doesn't know that that exists. It doesn't know where you're getting these functions. So you have to import it, okay? And in did finish launching with options, we're going to paste that little bit of code, the fireapp.configure, and we're going to save that. And then just click finish. Okay, so our new project is added. I don't know which one of these it is. Social 2, it's right here. And as long as this builds properly, everything is good. If you have an error, maybe you're running this in an older Xcode, I suggest updating your Xcode. For sure, maybe running an older Firebase, make sure and update your Firebase as well by running pod update in your terminal inside your projects folder, of course. But everything looks like it's working. There's a cool thing, Command B, that builds your project. So it compiles all of the stuff inside of it and makes sure it's running, or it could run without actually wasting the energy of your computer on running an actual device, okay? So Command B, I use it all the time. And there's another one, Shift Command K, which cleans your project. So you're basically working off something new. So if there's a bug or glitch or something like that, Shift Command K cleans it, and then you can Command B to build it. Okay, so everything's good here. Next step would be, let's go to our main.storyboard. And I'm not copying any code, I'm just doing this off of scratch with you guys. So if you guys don't know, you have classes, the ViewController class, which is connected to, oh, that's cool. They updated like the UI. That's sweet. ViewController connects to the main.storyboard. There's like these views that connect to the code, stuff like that. It'll make more sense as we go into the video. But right now, we're basically gonna be working on the login portion. So we have a controller, which is this right here. It almost looks like an iPhone, right? And down here at the bottom, we have different buttons right here. This is media library, this is your objects library, this is your code snippet library, and this is your template library. We're gonna go to our objects library, and someone showed me something cool. I forgot how you do it. Oh yeah, right here you can switch it to be like this. They say it's a lot easier. I don't know. I'm so used to just searching for the object, but you can have either way. Whatever is more easy for you, I would suggest going with. But we're just adding a text field, 2 text fields, and a button. Okay. So we're not going to go too in depth on authentication. Of course, there's way more things in authentication. You have to make sure that the user has the proper email, all the error stuff, error handling. There's also creating accounts, stuff like that. We're not going to go into that stuff. We're going to create accounts, but we're not going to go into the in-depth parts like different segues, unwind segues, all that stuff. We're just gonna have a simple one view for login and sign up, and then one view or two views for the rest of the stuff. In a normal app, you'd have one view for login, another one for signing up, and then once you signed up, it would unwind and all that stuff. But you guys can do that on your own. It just take too much time for a video. Okay, so actually let's just pull in one right now, and the placeholder here is going to be email. And a cool thing with the new what's it called, iOS 11, sorry, is content type right here in input field. You can put username, and if you have a backend and all that stuff, you can save this stuff so a user can use Swift Keychain Wrapper just to log in simply into your app. Check out WWDC's website for that, or I might create a video, maybe not, we'll see. And then you're gonna want to change its text. Just for us, we're gonna say title 2. That's fine. Title 2 or title 3, it's up to you. Either one. And color is, it's not gonna matter too much. I think we're gonna go with like a turquoise color, kind of like the cool colors. Maybe that's not a great color. We'll just go a dark gray for the font. That's fine. Okay, so that's our email. We're gonna duplicate this, and this one will be our password content type. Placeholder is going to be password. Good. And then we can put some space in there. We got to get a button. Put that on here. This button is going to say sign in / sign up. Good, good. Okay, I like it, I like it. What else we got? We gotta have a username, right? But that's gonna be a little bit separate. Well, let's just throw it in here anyways. Let's just duplicate one of these. We're gonna have a little bit more spacing, and it's gonna be username. And then we'll have a user image, I guess. What? User image, and we're gonna want to throw a button on top of this. Now, I'm not gonna go in depth on all of the design parts of this. You guys might want to add some more stuff, make it nicer. You do you. I'm just gonna say add photo, and if you say click command while you have the photo button, add photo button selected, and you select the image view, we can go down here to the bottom, and I'm going to say equal width, equal height, add 2 constraints, and then vertical centers, horizontal centers, add 2 constraints. Now we're having an error there just because we haven't aligned all this stuff. We're going to select username and the image view, just the image view, not the add photo, just these two. And we're going to say put them in a stack view. The little stack view thing right there, that's what that is. Putting it into a stack view. If you guys don't know what stack views is, I made a video on it. You can search my channel for it. But it explains in depth what stack views are, how to use them, why they're so good to use. Check that out if you don't know what a stack view is. Okay, so we still got one error with this one, but let's take password, all these 3 buttons, and put them into a stack view. Okay. This stack view is going to be fill, and we're going to pin this one. Well, let's start out with the top one. Let's put both these stack views into stack view. Yeah, why not? And we're just going to fill this view with stack views. We're going to do 20 from the top, 0 from the side, 0 from the side, and 20 from the bottom. Okay. Alright, that's alright, I guess. So the stack view of course is going to be align, is going to be center. And then fill, it's going to be aspect, or fill proportionally. Okay. That's alright. You don't have to put both of them in a stack view. Maybe that was a bad idea. Maybe. We're going to add a spacing for the big stack view, the one that has 2 stack views in it. So this one. We're going to add a spacing of 40. Let's see how that looks. 60. 70. I think that looks good. And now this constraints on the bottom and top, I think they're a little too close. So if you click the little ruler, you can change the constraints. So in iOS 11 now, it's aligned to safe area instead of top because there's the navigation bar which changes, which we will be using in this tutorial, which is really cool. So top safe area, we're going to change that to 40, I think. Maybe 60. You do whatever you guys like. I think 60 is fine for me. And then on the bottom, we're going to change it to 60 as well. Okay. That is good. Okay, let's see which problems we have. Priority ambiguity. Okay, let's add a spacing on this table view. The second table view, the bottom one, we're gonna add a spacing of 10. That looks good. That looks good. And then on the top one, a spacing of 10 as well. Now, yeah, equal spacing I think looks the best for the top stack view. Just click equal spacing or equal centering. Nah, I think equal spacing is the best. And we got that working pretty good. This is going to center. Nah, we'll fill. Yeah, we want these to go to the side. But we're gonna make another change on the stack view, and the trailing and the leading, we're gonna put a margin of 20 on these two. So it kind of comes in from the side, so it's not on the edge, which makes it look a little bit nicer. The button, the text color on the button is going to be changed to our turquoise that we're going to be using in this app, okay? So the idea with iOS design is all of your action buttons or things that when a user presses it, it does something are supposed to be colored. The rest of it's just like normal bland colors, but the action stuff where if a user presses it, it actually does something, those are the things that are supposed to be colored. So it makes it easier for the user to identify what they're supposed to be pressing and if something actually does something. That's just Apple design rules, okay? And we're gonna change this to the turquoise as well because the user presses it, it adds a photo. Now I'm not sure, maybe you don't want to use turquoise either, that's up to you guys as well. I'm not sure why this isn't stretching. Maybe this one needs to be aspect center? No, that's not it. What is it? Needs constraints. Missing constraints for image view, stack view, username. This will lead to add missing constraints. Let's see what we just added. So if you click on that stack view and you go to the ruler, okay, so it's adding something to the bottom. We don't need that, man. Both in a stack view. What's up with that? What if we change this? I'm just messing around with constraints. You guys can do this too. So it's up to you. Nope. Now you don't want to do that because otherwise the button is actually gonna jump in there with the image view. This image view, we'll probably want to give it a fixed width and height. So let's do that, fixed width and height. It's going to be 40 by 40. Also up to you, the size of that. This is not going to be fill, otherwise we get an error. Oh, no. Fill is fine. Alignment should be center. Okay. And our button seems like it must have lost its constraints. Probably just a bug, so we'll redo that. Or it's because I threw it in a stack view. That's probably what it was. Equal width, equal height. And vertical centers. And notice I do have both of them selected. Okay. Add two constraints. Kaboom. Username we can constrain to the outer edges, so 0 tab 0. Okay, that looks good. And this username, the image is looking kind of bland when it's small like that, so we can up this size to 60. It's all up to you guys, to be honest. So maybe even bigger, huh? 75. I guess. Just so we can see the add photo part. Maybe we can change the font size as well. Okay. Totally mess around with this. It's up to you guys. This portion, I mean, all of the app's up to you. But we're just messing around here, figuring out some stuff. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good. Like I said, this is not an actual app that you just throw out there. Normal one, you have a little sign up button, and then it would segue with the username and image after you've checked whether or not the user already exists or not, which is another error handling thing that you need to do. But it would just be way too long for this video because I did that in the last one. If you want to watch all that stuff, it's in the last one. It's just the code, Firebase's code, it's not up to date, so that's why I was remaking this one. So we're good there, and now let's head to our ViewController.swift. We need to import Firebase up here, and we're just going to whatchamacallit, we're gonna just get the authentication working right off the bat. Not creating a user's account. In this video, next video we'll do that. But getting the authentication working. So we need a few IB outlets. We need username, we need email, and we need password. And we also need an IB outlet for the user image or the image view. So let's create those. To create an IB outlet, you just say @IB outlet week var, and this is going to be our username field. I'll type UI text field. Okay, so if you guys don't know what's going on here, an IB outlet links objects in the main.storyboard, so like our username field, to this right here, the IB outlet week var, the username field. So we can use this variable, username field, and it's accessing the username field on the main.storyboard's view. Okay, so that's what the IB outlet is doing. There's another thing called an IB action, which connects the UI view, the view that the user sees, to the code when they press something or an action happens. Hence IB action. You guys can read more about that if that doesn't make sense, but hopefully it does. And now we're going to add more of them. There's another way to add IB actions, IB outlets. My computer's a little bit slow, like the computer I record on. So I'm not gonna show, I guess I can show you. We'll do the next one that way. So you click this little 2 circle button. This may be easier for beginners. And we're gonna close this up here. We're gonna create an IB outlet for the username. So right click on the email field and drag underneath here. And this is going to be an outlet, not an action. And the name of this is going to be email field. Okay, it's going to be a UI text field, automatically detected that, and it's going to be a week variable. And there we go. So we basically got the same thing 2 different ways. One may be easier for you, definitely varies. I personally prefer just doing the code. It's quicker, especially when you have bigger applications, stuff like that. Totally up to you. But since we're here, we'll just do the other one. Here, password field. Create. And then which one is the last one? So now we got an action. I'll show you guys how to do action through this one. It's the same with the other way, you just have to write the code for it. Connection type is going to be action here, and the name is going to be sign in pressed. Sign in pressed. Okay, type any touch up inside, yeah, sender, connect. And there we go. So now we can write our code right here for whenever the user presses that, or we can use these variables for accessing these objects. Our other objects we need is our image view. And here was the top, user image view. Yeah. Type UI image view, we connect. Okay. So hopefully that stuff makes sense. If you did the easy way, in my opinion, this way, you'll notice that there's no, these ones have like the black circle. That means they're connected, they're linked up to the UI, the main.storyboard, or the ViewController. And the one without a circle is not linked up. So there's a few ways you can link up stuff. One is clicking and dragging if you have the double pane open, and you can click and drag to the object and it will connect that way. Or you can get rid of this assistant editor and move down here. Now you can right click on the ViewController and you will see the connections right here in a little different view. But we go to username, we click the little plus and drag it to the username and let go. And you know it's connected now because the username is blue highlighted and there is a connection right there. If you want to get rid of a connection, or you see a little caution triangle symbol here, just click the little X, or if it's the caution one, click the caution, and you can just reconnect. It's as simple as that. And the only way you can connect like this is if you make sure that the class, so this class is a ViewController class, and you know that by going over here and it says class ViewController. So that's connecting to this file right here, the ViewController file. We'll be making more files and you guys will understand how that works later on. But let's get this authentication going. So if you head back over to firebase.com and you click authentication, go to sign in methods, you'll notice here mine is already enabled because I have other projects, but yours will be unenabled, the email, password. And just click enable and then save. Now it's enabled. So we're gonna head back to, where do we need to go now? Let's head to documentation, okay? You gotta go to Firebase's documentation, otherwise it's gonna download that file, which is really annoying. Okay, so in the documentation, we're gonna head to develop, authentication, iOS, getting started, password authentication. Okay, so it's gonna tell you here in the documentation, Firebase /auth in the pod file, which we already did. And then it's gonna tell us to import Firebase, configure Firebase in the app delegate, which we did. And this is create a new account by passing user info. Okay, that's for creating an account, which we're not going to do quite yet. We're just going to be signing in someone. Oh look, right here, sign in with the email. Okay, so we get the user's email by the IB action, or IB outlet, sorry, and we get their password via IB outlet. And yeah, that's how we sign someone in. So let's copy this code right here. Make sure to do this stuff. It's kind of best practice to practice how you actually develop in the real world or on your own. So let's copy this and let's head to our ViewController.swift, and we're gonna create a function, I guess. I guess when someone presses the sign in button, it should check to see if the credentials are proper, if there's an email in the email field, if there's a password in the password field. If that's true, then we're going to check and see if we can sign in the user. If we can't sign in the user, that means it's either they've been disabled, which you can use error handling for that, or they haven't created an account, which then in our app will create an account for them. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to do a couple error handling. We're going to create if let statement. So if let email equals email field dot text and then comma, if let password equals password field dot text. Okay, so what's going on here? You might not have seen an if let statement before, but basically, you've probably seen an if statement before. So if this happens, then do this, or if the sky is blue, then we have a clear sky, something like that, right? So in this instance, if let, it's saying if email field.text exists, we're gonna store it in a variable called email. So it kills two birds with one stone. It makes sure that there is a property inside email field.text, and then it stores it into a variable that you can easily use instead of saying email field.text all the time, okay? So that's one reason to use it. There's a whole bunch of other reasons, but that's what we're doing here. So basically, if the user has put in an email field, if they've put in an email in the email field, we're going to continue, and if they put a password in the password field, we're going to continue. And we're going to check and sign them in, right? That'd be the first step in this process. We're going to sign them in. If there's an error, we're going to proceed to create an account. And if there's no error, we're just going to segue them to the next view. Okay, so if error is not equal to nil, so if we have an error, we're going to say create account. We'll handle this in the next video, but now we're going to say else. So if there was no error, we're going to what do we need to do? We need to store the user's ID in our device, okay, and then we need to perform a segue to the next view. Okay, so we got that. Let's see what they say. So there's a pod called Swift Keychain Wrapper, I believe. So here's the documentation on Swift Keychain Wrapper, but where does it say about installing? Usually they have something that says like pod Swift Keychain Wrapper, but I guess they don't. You can check out their GitHub, their code, their installs, number of downloads, so you can see if it's a good pod by all the statistics right here. Let's go to their GitHub repo. I think they have the pod stuff there. It just makes it a little bit more simple. No. Oh yeah, here we go. So you can just copy this in their Cocoapods install and paste it in here in your pod file, and then save that and go to your terminal. And if you exited out of the terminal, make sure and CD back into your projects folder. Otherwise, you can just say pod install. You don't have to do pod init again. Just say pod install and make sure that your file is saved, and then it will install, and you can see it is installing. So that has finished now, so we can import Swift Keychain Wrapper. And like I said, Command B to build your project. If something is not popping up like that, see, there's this little error. Hopefully it's not a real error, and it's just the code hasn't built yet, so the compiler doesn't know that file exists. So it's like, wait a second, it's not here. So just Command B, and then it'll compile it all, and then it will know whether it actually exists or not. Okay, so it's saying it's not there. Maybe I typed it in wrong. Yeah, I just typed it in wrong. So save that. And once the user is signed in, we're just going to, you can look at their code. It's totally cool to do this. Okay, I don't see the one I'm looking for. Maybe it's back here. Yeah. Okay. So the string for key. Okay, we're gonna copy this one, a setting, a value. Copy that. And in the else statement, just paste that in there. You don't need this bool part, but it's gonna say save successful. Keychain wrapper.standard.set, and and we're going to be setting the user.uid. This is the user's ID. So like you'll see in a minute in the database, there's actual IDs like 253JF, something like that, and that gets stored in our database, and this is how we're going to access it. So key underscore UID. Now we're storing this in our keychain. So basically, next time a user opens up their phone, and if we have their user ID stored, they just go straight to the feed. We don't have to log in every single time. But if their user ID is not on our app, we need them to log in so we can get their user ID, so we can load up their profile information so that they can actually post and stuff like that. And we're going to be storing their value, their user ID, in the value of key UID, like so. You don't need the let part. That's why we're getting that error. You can delete that, save that. And at this point, we need to perform a segue. We need to perform a segue to our feed VC. So perform segue with identifier to feed. Sender is going to be nil. Just copy this to feed part. And yeah, let's head back over to our main.storyboard. And let's drag on a new ViewController. Ooh, it looks so cool. If you click on the bottom bar, you can move it around. And we're gonna make sure that the new ViewController is selected, and we're gonna go to Product, Editor, Embed in Navigation Controller. Okay, so I just recently started using navigation controllers. They're actually really handy, so I would suggest using a navigation controller from now on. But we're gonna right click from this little view controller button on our initial VC and drag to the navigation and click show. We're gonna click on this little connector in the middle and go to the attributes inspector. The identifier is going to be to feed. Now this identifier right here is linking up to this right here, to feed. Now we're getting this error right here. We need to say self.perform, build that. But this to feed needs to be the same, otherwise the computer doesn't know which feed or which view we want to go to when we're performing a segue. That links up where we're going, okay? And let's give this a shot and see what happens. In this video, we should just be performing a segue to the next one. And on here, I guess we could throw on a button. I don't know, there'll be a nav bar up here, so we'll see that. We can change the title to feed, that's fine. The feed of your nav bar, right there. Automatic. If you click on the navigation controller, we're going to say prefers large titles. Okay, this is the new navigation bar. It's really cool. And we're going to run this on a device if we can. Okay, so there's this little bug where the simulator wasn't popping up. I just exit out of Xcode, open it again. Hopefully you guys don't have this error, but if you do, just exit out, like quit Xcode, and then reopen Xcode, open your project, and it will all pop up. Hopefully. This is still beta in my case. Hopefully you guys see this when the stable Xcode 9 version is out and you don't have any of these problems. But you never know. Okay, so here we are in our app. Maybe we should change some of the design stuff. That's totally up to you guys. Maybe add some spacing down here on this bottom one a little bit more. But our email, we're gonna say tester@me.com, I think. Basically, you can go to if you go to Authentication on Firebase and you go to the little top section, it says add user, and you can add a user's email and all that stuff. And I think the password here is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Sign in, sign up. Boom. So we signed in, we're on the feed VC, and in the next video we're going to be storing that data so that when we reopen the app, we just pop right into the feed VC. And actually, one more thing before we leave. Our feed VC. Yeah, let's delete that. Or maybe not delete it yet. But we're gonna pull on a table view controller right here and delete the feed VC one. Oh, I gotta click at the bottom. There we go. Click at the bottom, then delete it. And we're gonna drag this one over right there and right click from nav to that one and say root view controller. And then we can change the name here to feed VC or feed. Sorry. So it's gonna work the same. All that stuff's good. It's just now this is a table view controller instead of just a view controller, which makes things a lot nicer, especially with the bugginess of the iOS 11 at this point. It may be different in the future, but I think it's just best practice to use these features, and I think that's why Apple created them, for best practice. So we're gonna do that. I'll see you guys in the next video where we're gonna add the creating a user and storing the QID or accessing it when we load. So if it is there, we just go to the feed VC, making it a very seamless flow for your user. Please, please, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you guys got comments, questions, leave that in the comment section below. I answer pretty much all of them. And if you guys haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Deuces.